Yo, what's up? This is Jameson with Kozmo King TCG here to showcase my true Draco deck profile that I took to the Houston Regionals this last Saturday on the 13th. I went X-3. I got 56 out of 310 players. Top 48 were able to get their invites. So basically X-3 was able to get invites, but since I had opponents that had dropped out of the tournament, it lowered my final standings, but you can't win them all. It was a pretty fun regional. It was a very interesting one, at least. I had a lot of rogue matchups compared to meta. I played more rogue than I did meta. This deck performed excellently against the meta. I played 2 Solomon Great players and it was just done right there. We'll go ahead and jump into the profile. I'll talk about my matchups more towards the end of the video. To start out, we play 2 Inspector Border, which is basically no Yu-Gi-Oh for your opponent. This dude was the MVP of my deck on Saturday. Just kept I opened him up a lot and kept getting like Apocalypse and another True Draco to be able to protect him while he was on board. Next up, we of course play the classic lineup of triple Ignis. That way you're able to search out your spells. Double Maiden to basically search out your monsters if you only open her. Because the biggest issue with this deck is getting monsters, since we only run like 7 or 8. Yeah, we run 8 because the single Dynamite dude's just really good. Always the one everyone kept trying to take off board for me all weekend, but was able to keep recycling him and getting right back out. He's your trap guy, gets you your traps to your hand or activates him to the field. So with him, helps get over the second play, which I'm glad I didn't have to deal with. Next up, we of course play the triple Dragonic Diagram. Pop spells and traps, just get gains off of it. Helps you get into all your monsters to be able to like get your board set up to try to lock your opponent down. Next up, we of course play the double terraforming, so we can play 5 diagram instead of 3. Self-explanatory. Next up, we of course play, well, for all my draw stuff, I play triple Card of Demise because it's great to go through your turn, clear a board, get some battle damage in, and then be able to set up to interact and stop your opponent from basically being able to play the next turn. We play the 2 Pot of Duality because you really don't, the only special summoning you ever do in this deck is with True King's Return, so this is just really good. 2's a good number, 3 can get very bricky. This is something weird that I did. I've only played 1 Desires. I resolved it once all weekend. I kept siding it out for more Floodgates because as soon as I saw that my opponent kept ashing like other things, I didn't want to lose 10 random cards and not be able to play and lose combo pieces for nothing. For the True Draco spells, we of course run the triple Heritage. I actually got to draw 3 off of this during my round 9 game against Solomon Great. It was just really good. Free draws, extra tributes. Next up, we of course play the triple Draco Phoenix. Your Diagusto Emerald, the deck. This is the thing that lets you recycle all your big plays and be able to keep getting shit out of your deck to stop your opponent from playing. I teched in the 1 Domain of the True Monarchs. If you open up this, if you're able to end your first turn with this, an Inspector Border, Draco Monster, and traps, like, it's basically GG for your opponent. Like, I had a couple people try to play through it. Some people were just like, I'm not dealing with this, let's just go to the next game. For the True Draco traps, you of course play the 3 Apocalypse. Lets you send a face-up True Draco True King card from field to grave to half all your opponent's attack and defense. You're able to activate in damage calculation. That way, like, you can't get like ogred or anything else. Which either way, even if they did, that's just free pop. So you send the spell to pop something, and then basically protect whatever you have on board, especially if it's the inspector board, because like you guys have like Cyber Dragon and shit where they're just gonna try to swing right over it. Of course, we play the one True King's Return. Once per turn, it lets you special summon a True King or True Draco from the graveyard in defense mode, but you can't special summon for the rest of the turn, which isn't a problem because we don't do that. And of course, like Apocalypse, they have the effect to tribute on your opponent's turn, and when they leave the field, it pops a monster. Next up, I played triple Erupt. I was playing 3 Erupt in my and 1 Skull Drain in the last profile I did, but it felt kind of clunky to me, and I kept opening up way too many multiples of it, so I cut it down just to the 3 Erupts. This card came in handy a lot against a lot like the extra deck eccentric decks, and they weren't able to do anything. Next, of course, we play the 3 There Can Only Be One. This card is broken against Salamangreat. Have Inspector Board or Draco that in a trap, and it's done for. This and Inspector Board were just perfect against the Salamangreat matchup. And for the last of everything, I play the 2 Infinite Impermanents. This actually came in clutch a couple times against Salamangreat, a couple other decks, just to have that little bit of interaction on your opponent's turn. And like if you go first, you're able to set it to be able to lock out the column. And then of course we play the 1 Imperial Order for spell-centric decks, and basically Sky Striker mostly, and the 1 Soul Drain to lock out the graveyard. It's just way too good against some of the matchups. I had my matchups for the, before I go into the side, my matchups for the weekend was, I played against Invoked Mech Knight Train, like Sky Striker Trains, Burning Abyss, Danger, For Hire. Ron 5 didn't show. Then I played Salad. I played against Salamangreat, another Burning Abyss player, and then another Salamangreat. I'm forgetting one, and I can't remember what the matchup was. It happens. But for my side deck, I sided in the triple raw spear mode for the combo decks, like any of the Dark Warrior type decks, or Orcust, or anything that like revolved around running dangers. I sided in the 1 Metaltron for if I ever ran into... Oh, I did play a mirror match. That was my other one. This is really great against the mirror match because most of the time you don't main or side anything in Draco that can really get over this guy, especially if he's unaffected by everything. So it's just too good. I really wanted to get him out once. I sided him in a couple times, never saw him. Had other bigger plays that I could have made. Except I sided in 2 Stormforts instead of 3. Came up once. I had a lot of decks like with the rogue ones where I didn't really need to side anything, and I just wanted to take over things. Next up, played triple Rivalry of the Warlords. Keep falling. This card came in real clutch against the Burning Abyss player, because one was just like pure Burning Abyss with like the normal like BLS and stuff in the deck. The other one was the Rock Burning Abyss, and this came in clutch more against like the Rock one. Just because he would bring out a Rock, I would flip this over and lock him out of making Dante, and he just had to stick with his Rock engine and wasn't able to do anywhere near enough to be able to get me. Next up, we played the 2 Evenly Match. Never sided it in, just sided just in case I played something that it would be necessary to. Next up, we play the 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance. This is for like if I did run into any Pendulum players or played Sky Strikers, which surprisingly I didn't play a single Sky Striker. Normally, like, I'm a Sky Striker magnet. And last but not least, I sided in 2 Summon Limit. I was going to side into Dark Bribe, but I couldn't find my Dark Bribes beforehand, that way in case I got even lead or anything else, or twistered, which became an issue later down the line. I had round 2, I played against Trains. He opened up Jamming Waves and a Twin Twister both rounds, and then OTK'd me with the Gustav Max and the Libre play. But otherwise, like, deck performed really well. Looking forward to playing it in future tournaments. But thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below for future content.